Thank you, Nell. It's great to see everybody here, and thanks for coming out this morning. First of all, very flattering comments. Thank you very much. But really, it's Mona. You know, you heard Mona's story, and Mona's really doing it. Turkey's really doing it. If you look at the consular corps, so you know, all I'm doing here today is stimulating some interest by having you here, and hopefully that over time we can spread the word within the international community, with the consular community and other good friends of what is happening here at MedShare, because I think what you're getting the sense of, this is a pretty dynamic organization. As I think Mona said, when Nell begins a campaign, she begins a campaign. So I hope you're getting the feeling, listening to AV and to Nell, that there is a dedication, a commitment here that is quite impressive. And I think when I first heard about MedShare, and I'll tell you a little bit how that happened, that I became quickly convinced that this is an organization that we should all be aware of and perhaps become connected to. I did meet Nell the first time at Rotary, and that was one of her many campaigns, I think, spreading the word within the Atlanta business community about what the organization is all about. But the word Ecuador came up in the conversation, and I perked up because when Lydia and I were there, we had a number of interactions with Canadian medical teams that were coming down on a regular annual basis, pro bono, to offer medical services, cleft palate, eye surgeries, and other things like this, and they came down on a regular basis. But knowing the needs, as I think most of us do in less developed countries for these services, as soon as I heard that Nell was involved in Ecuador, MedShare is involved in Ecuador, I decided to investigate, and I've had the tour here, and I think you'll be very impressed with what you're going to be seeing shortly. But, you know, I think MedShare gets it right away, and I think what I think we could be doing here is something quite profound. In Atlanta, our consular corps here has 62 members at the moment. 62 countries are represented here through the consular corps, through honorary consuls like Mona, but also through the professional offices. We all have our own networks. Canada, for example, has 170 offices worldwide in our foreign service. We have personnel in place in all these locations. We interact with the local communities, often the medical communities in those places. We have Canadian companies, large numbers that are out there. They're exporters. Corporate social responsibility is a big thing these days. Everybody is looking for opportunities to engage with those communities in order to do the right thing. They just need to have the kind of the hook or the opportunity. And I think we are intermediaries in that. Knowing an organization like MedShare allows us, whether we're here in Atlanta, in the United States, or anywhere, to refer these companies and these organizations to MedShare for them to do the right thing. Kimberly-Clark was mentioned, but certainly in Canada's case, we have large numbers of companies. AV mentioned to me this morning, just a Canadian firm has just stepped forward out of the blue and has heard about MedShare and wants to come, and will be coming here very shortly to find out about what's going on, because they have an interest in stimulating the marketplace in Canada. And that's the other thing. I was amazed. My first question, I think, when I was here is, well, there must be all sorts of MedShares around. I mean, this is a no-brainer. Landfilling perfectly good medical equipment. Surely there are organizations all around that are working to change that. And as you just heard, there isn't. And so that's quite amazing. I mean, you have this little small network of 5 organizations you're working with. But what I see is in Canada, which I don't think is much different from the United States, there are probably a large number of hospitals that are landfilling medical equipment, and we need to do something about that, link our hospitals and our networks into MedShare and see what we can do in a broader context. So Lydia and I, as you know, and this was one of our farewell activities, that we thought that when we go back, I personally am going to start a process of some networking to see what I can do in order to connect you with some of our medical facilities and see what we can do from there. So That's the idea, and I would just say to my consular colleagues, I think Paul came up with a great idea. Ideas are all out there, you know. We built a house, the Consular Corps, last year. We raised funds, and we built a Habitat for Humanity house. And it took a bit of work to get the funds together, but Paul said, well, why don't we, as a project, just in the Consular Corps in the future, raise funds for a container? I mean, that's a pretty simple idea, and I think that's a doable thing. And so I think there are lots of things we can do out there, and I would say that those of you here today, mention what you see today to our colleagues in the Consular Corps, the ones who are not here, and perhaps carry on a dialogue in the future within our group. So I think there's tremendous scope. You've seen the leadership here. It's very impressive, and it's an organization that we should want to work with. So AD, again, thank you very much, and Mel, this is a great opportunity for us.
Thank you.